Well, Deanna Forrester of UFCW Local 400, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll talk a little bit. It's called the Maryland Economic Stabilization Act. How did this become law? And essentially, what does it do?
So prior to this session, it was already a law, but it was a recommendation from the state. It recommended that if a company was closing, that they gave sufficient notice to the workforce, and that they made, they met with the workers to try to come up with some compensation packet in lieu of the company closing doors. And it was a recommendation. It's a federal recommendation. In Maryland, it was a recommendation. And after Shoppers Food Warehouse announced that they were closing a little bit over a year and a half ago, our members were left wait in the loo, not knowing what was going to happen to their jobs. So we were really trying to force the companies to abide by the recommendation. It was really hard. So what we realized is that we needed more teeth in enforcement in the recommendation.
So essentially, what does this measure then do? What kind of protections does it afford to the workers?
So what it does is it makes it a requirement. So if a company, a company, or if any company is closing, and not because of bankruptcy, not because of financial reasons, but if they make a decision to close, just like Shoppers did, and they are required to notify the workers in 60 days that they're going to be closing. This gives the authority to the Department of Labor to come up with requirements that they would have to abide by in the conversations with the workforce.
So I understand as this is working its way through the General Assembly, the Local 400 worked very hard on this measure.
Yeah, actually, it was brought to us because we were working to protect our members at Shoppers Food Warehouse. We had several elected officials that were concerned about the workforce and their stores closing in their communities. So they reached out to us, Delegate Derek E. Davis over Economic Matters Committee, and Delegate Juanita Fisher, helped bring this to our attention because we believe that, this was something that they should have done. We thought that, what we were asking was fairly reasonable. And therefore, since we realized that there was not enforcement mechanisms in the current requirement, that we needed to make it a law. So we worked with Delegate Derek Davis and Juanita Fisher to get it through the House.
So I know you talked a bit about Shoppers. How many actually workers lost their jobs roughly when the Shoppers began closing?
So mind you, Shoppers has been trickling out announcements. So right before Christmas, they notified their workers, our members, that they were going to be closing doors within 2 weeks, right before Christmas. So many of our members were working and not knowing how they were going to make it through the holidays and beyond that. So we had, I think, overall for Shoppers, we have about 4,000 members, but that were impacted by this as of now that are out of work, probably about 1,500.
So had this been in effect then, they would have been able to hold on to their jobs longer or had some more protections.
Well, it's not just be able to hold on to your job longer, it gives them an opportunity to plan appropriately. So, many of them, if they were notified within 60 days, and we were able to sit down with the company and make some agreements about what the transition process would look like. We worked with the county executive's office to put on a job fair very quickly once the announcement happened. So what we're saying is we're not going to force a company to stay in the area they don't want to be in, but since when you're here, leave responsibly. So what that would do, it gives us 60 days to get some measures in place and making sure that people, if they're going to be unemployed, that they're compensated. We help them transition into job training, into other jobs. It gives us and the company and the county an opportunity to plan for a large number of people that are going to be unemployed.
Okay, Deanna Forrester, UFCW Local 400, thank you.
Thank you.